All right, well, let's just start it off then. Hi, this is Don Clark of FileMakerProGurus.com and FM Database Consulting. We're here at DevCon 2015, the FileMaker version, and it's up here in our suite 5325. Mike Beargie of Mainspring, and he's going to talk to us today. He's presenting on two different topics, is that correct?
Yeah.
And the first one is on WebDirect, and the other one is on resources, the free resources.
Yeah.
And you haven't done either one of your presentations.
No.
And I'm going to miss both of them, but I'm going to catch them on the recordings because I really want to hear both these. All right, good. Anyway, tell us something about yourself first, Mike.
Well, I'll start with a little about myself. I've been developing on FileMaker for 8 years now. Before that, I was doing some PHP website work. I was a WordPress and kind of a front-end designer, developer kind of guy, and all-around general IT tech support stuff. So been around computers for the longest time, but only on FileMaker since version 8, which gives me some advantages, but other times I wish, like when I'm doing conversions, that I had that a little bit old
Call the old hands here.
Yeah. So really, myself, I'm just kind of I play around in the FileMaker community a lot. A lot of people recognize my name from the community. I was privileged enough to win the Excellence Award last year for the Community Achievement of the Year, which was shocking but also pleasant of a surprise.
You write some really, really good blog posts, by the way. I've read a lot of them.
I keep a blog for Mainspring. Mainspring's formerly Anvil DataWorks, same people, different name, that we joined our kind of two divisions together into one whole entity. So hopefully the name Mainspring will catch on and people will stop asking me how Anvil DataWorks is, because it's fine. It's just not Anvil anymore.
We'll help get the word out here.
In my personal life, I'm a man of many hobbies. What I like to call a Renaissance man. I do my own beer brewing. I do soap making and woodworking. Some arts. I am currently taking piano lessons as kind of an outlet to get out of my house, so I'm not stuck in my house working and then living all day. But also just...
That's nice. Did you grab that bottle of beer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I brought, actually, as a gift to our hosts here, a bottle of Fat Julian Imperial Stout from a Columbus, Ohio local brewery, actual brewery.
I'm excited about this.
It's really good.
And the next people that get up here well around 5 o'clock today, we're going to probably have to tap that guy. So, but we can't do it while I'm recording today and doing interviews. But hey,
I don't really want to do it before my session either. I
don't blame you a bit.
Would be great about that.
You'd have more fun though.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's really great. Tell me something about the WebDirect, if you can share anything at all, the WebDirect seminar you're going to do.
Sure. So my WebDirect session is called Time-Tested Tips. So WebDirect's been out for over a year now, so we've had the year to work on it. FileMaker did their part in providing a speed bump with the release of FileMaker 14. I want to share our experiences as well with what we've done to kind of shoehorn in some solutions that maybe people would look at initially and think that there's no way that's going to ever work on WebDirect, and get those solutions to work. So I've got an example in my session today. I'm going to show where we took a green space company that they put plants and living walls into spaces that would otherwise be concrete, to help with erosion control and runoff control and just in general pleasant atmosphere in concrete buildings. And when they first came to us, they wanted to use WebDirect, but they figured they weren't able to, and the reason why was their main table that built out this massive specification sheet for their orders to calculate what they actually needed was about 850 fields in one table. That's more than what I heard about earlier today. Yeah, two-thirds to three-quarters of those fields were unstored calculation fields.
Oh, so my.
We were able to switch to the concept of one-to-one relationships and get an immediate speed performance that was good enough to bring them onto WebDirect without losing any of their fields, with very little actual legwork, mostly just copy and pasting legwork. And it's up, it's running, it's working, and it's a a wonderful system. So I'll have some screenshots, and I'll discuss kind of a little bit of how we arrived at that process and how exactly that contributes to performance versus having everything in the one table.
Do you do a lot of stuff with CSS enhancements, trying to keep everything with the minimum amount of CSS and so on? I mean, I know Rich Carlton has done a lot of work with that. And
so that was more that's a good place to start before you're bringing your file onto WebDirect. But I think what's important for people to know is that all of the work for drawing all of that is happening on the server, and it's happening very quickly. Most of the time, and most of the performance you're going to get that lags you behind is your user interactions with your actual layouts. So it's more about taking off the objects you don't need and controlling the flow of your system, so you're not putting, making a list view with a number of different fields where you don't necessarily need editing access. So replacing those fields with a single line of merge text would be a great performance increase for your list view. And then, driving it so that they can click through that row, go into a form view, and then have that for their editing layout. That way you're only dealing with one record instead of loading all of those records for editing in one view. So it's really being creative and trying to think about how you can take what you're used to in FileMaker as making a FileMaker database with list, form, and table. Table not supported in WebDirect, but taking that kind of mindset you get as a FileMaker developer and actually going to websites that are data-driven websites and seeing how they work.
Right.
So, you go to a website and there's like Google, it's one box to search in.
Yeah.
They're loading that one object. They're loading a whole bunch of other stuff to track.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going.
but all the user sees is one box and a go button, and that's all you really need. So if you've got a quick find box that you want to put on your WebDirect solution to find, you can set a single box on and have a script that does perform quick find and takes you to a
simple step.
So your initial page loads very fast, and then your results page only loads when you need it. So the key to WebDirect performance is only loading stuff when you need it, because that's honestly
that's what it comes down to. So you mentioned doing a list with merge fields. Do you just use basic field information and concatenate them inside of the single merge set, or do you
can do a number of different text fields? The key there is that the overhead to put a text field on a layout is a lot less style-wise and code-wise than trying to put an edit field on there.
Yeah.
Even if you lock out editing in browse mode, it still has to draw the box around the field, the text inside the field. So you're styling, 3 or 4 different layers of objects instead of that one layer of object.
Right.
So
so a text field is much preferable. Yeah.
It's leaner on the code.
Yeah.
When you look at the rendered code, it's one line of code instead of 8 lines of code.
Yeah.
So
what's the maximum number of concurrent users you've had successfully on a database, a WebDirect database?
Well, we've done a little bit of burst testing, but nothing terribly complicated. I've heard of people that have had the full 50 user allowance.
It's up to 100 now, I think, on 14, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a lot.
101, they say, I think, technically, yeah.
But at a certain point of time, we try to talk to our clients about the right tool for the right job. And while it depends, we try to drive it the same way we drive our FileMaker Go solutions, where we try to take out the concurrency of it. But you can't really do that for WebDirect. You can do it for Go by setting up a sync solution, but for WebDirect, when they're there and they're taking up the space.
Right.
But still, and I'll cover this in my session too, there's actually a lot of idle time, because unless your user is actually commanding FileMaker to do something and send me updates or send updates to FileMaker, your browser is just sitting there idle, and FileMaker's not doing anything. So it can support that whole user bank of allowance, as long as you're not doing something like, like a stock market exchange where they're doing trades every 2 seconds and clicking everywhere. Yeah,
but if they're just updating a record here, a record there,
all tabbing through different records at the same time or something and typing really fast, But the testing we did to try to duplicate FileMaker's number of a 25% speed boost with 14 was kind of along the same lines. It was user interactions with we would write a unit case saying, go to this layout, do these steps, edit this field, tab to this field, go back, and then when you're done, then we would have Chrome Inspector developer tools up, and we would time those actions. And what we were seeing is that even though we were aggressively doing actions, if we had a 15-second unit test where it took us 15 seconds to complete those actions, we would still see that there was 5 or 6 seconds of idle time that was in there, where there were
1/3 the time. That's
where
pretty
it wasn't doing any interactions with the server at all. So
well, that means it's not too busy then, and that's a good thing because that takes up a lot of bandwidth and cycles on the server. So that's not a bad thing. What about the second?
So my second session is FileMaker Free Resources, and it's kind of a mix between things you can get for free and things you can do for free. So things you can get for free are some of the great free plugins out there, like Scriptmaster from 360works.
Yeah, the base level, Goya base elements. Yeah.
Well, Goya now released REST-FM.
That's free. Yeah, that's just free. Yeah, 2 weeks ago now it's free, and you can get a support contract for it. But the basic stuff is free.
But that's great. That does.
Oh yeah.
That does some great stuff. So there's some utilities I have from this great developer, Dave Ramsey in Columbus. And he has a tool called FM X-ray Specs that allows you to...
I've heard of that, yeah. I've never used it, though.
Yeah, you select all the objects on your layout and copy it into the clipboard. And then you go into his program and hit refresh, and it will read all of the metadata from the clipboard about all of your objects into an easy-to-digest kind of table view.
Nice.
Where you can sort, you can see which fields you can edit in browse mode, which ones are locked, which ones are tied to script triggers,
oh, nice. So it does
and then
digs deep.
Then, since the clipboard also provides kind of like a preview snapshot of what the layout looks like and all the coordinates for the objects, he has a feature where you can double-click on an object in his list, and it'll pull up a preview of the layout and highlight that object in red on that layout. So
kind of like something we saw in the non-disclosure portion this morning.
Well, I mean, I'm not
to a
going
degree.
to disclose it, but,
well, that simple thing of picking out a thing on a layout was a pretty nice feature.
And that's actually
in FM specs, because I'm not going to discuss non-disclosure either. So.
FM X-ray specs, but FM X-ray specs, but he's also moving it to. He's got a tables version, FM X-ray tables out that does the same thing for tables.
Okay.
Table schema, and he's working on one right now for scripts as well.
Nice.
For the script workspace, which keeps changing with every version, so he's trying to support it back to at least 11. So so it's kind of interesting to hear him go through this process.
Do you have some other free resources that you like that along the lines?
Man, I haven't memorized my slides.
That's all right. I don't want to put you on the spot.
I mean, you're so good with just Scriptmaster and REST-FM and those tools. Like the Apple configuration utility, a lot of people forget that exists, but you can do some really powerful iPad configuration stuff with that utility to set up, kind of preset somebody's iPad and then deploy that across like 50 users. So
really? Okay.
Great. Then the second half is things you can do. They're not necessarily like products that you get from somebody.
Okay.
And that covers like the training videos, like for Richard Carlton's training videos.
Right.
Some of the, just in general, like YouTube is a great resource. There's a lot on there that's free. There's a few things where you'll get paywalled when you try to click on the video to play, but those lynda.com types need to make their money to produce that.
Oh yeah, they
content.
do. Yeah, so they have a teaser video. Yeah.
And then last, like the entire last probably 5 to 10 minutes of my session, we're just going to talk about the community.
Okay.
Just in general, the website was overhauled by FileMaker for the community. I'm still calling it TechNet, even though it's officially the community now. I think my bookmark still is like FileMaker.com/TechNet, and it like redirects me into the community. So,
well, for my own blatant promotion portion of this, I want to mention FileMakerProGurus.com as a place where you can go get a lot of information and links to great articles, like with Michael Rochard, who's here now, sitting off to the side, and I interviewed this morning, and stuff's your website as well. And I also have on there a 150 plus links to a free download FileMaker example files.
So there's
that kind of thing too. It's a kind of neat thing for everybody to look at.
Places to get demo files. I've got a slide on that. Nightwing is very great with their demo files. Wheatbix, their stuff.
Oh, there's a lot of great stuff. Yeah.
But even like Modular FileMaker now has some good stuff.
That's got some really good stuff on there. People are really nice, and I like that because it is modular. It's something you can just grab it and slap into a solution for the most part.
And even though he said he was leaving us in the FileMaker world, Tim Dietrich,
he just came up with a new one.
The
FM Foo.
Custom web publishing connector.
Yeah.
So get it while it's free.
Yeah. Good stuff out there. In fact, those two of the things you brought up, I brought up FM Foo, but I can see an application for that with a client I have who has trying to tie FileMaker to a WordPress installation and sharing data to and from, and then the same with the REST FM. Same thing, it could be able to grab data and slap it out there. And or collect data off of a form on there and put it right directly in FileMaker.
That's another good thing about FileMaker is there's always 3 or 4 different ways to do something. Like if you talk to people about iPad syncs, there's 5 products on the market now, plus still the ability to just roll your own code. So
exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of great things out there. Well, this is great. I wish I could attend the meetings, but I'm going to be stuck in here for the next 2.5 days.
That's what the recordings are for.
Yeah, and I am going to have the recordings. So I'm looking forward to those. I'm just going to find some time. But both of those are of great interest to me because I'm working on a project for FileMaker WebDirect, and I'm also, like I said, always looking for other resources to share and reshare out to the community. And this would be great. So. I already asked you some of these other things. Have you met anybody at the DevCon so far that you had been wanting to meet?
Most of them are people that I've met before. I've met a couple faces that have come up to me and thanked me for helping them on TechNet, our community, over the past year. I've been going to DevCon long enough now. I think this is the 5th year for me that I've got the longtime friends now that I've been hanging out with.
Okay.
So it's good to see them. There's a lot of international people I love talking to. People from the UK, people from Japan, people from Australia, New Zealand. It's just all over the place, so it's great.
I've talked to several of them, as I was walking around handing out my little flyers this morning.
Fun statistic, they didn't mention it in the keynote, but they told us at the speakers orientation was that we have our first speaker from Japan this year.
Oh, okay, and that's the 3 guys that were Japan Airlines, maybe?
No.
Oh, okay.
This gentleman is from Hokkaido, from Nagano.
I sent him an invite on his website, but it was all in Japanese, so I'm not sure how that
well, I'll track it down for you, and I'll try to send him up. But he's a great guy. I got a chance to talk to him for a while. So, but I think that the percentage of international speakers that we had this year is the largest it's ever been. There's speakers from. There's another guy doing a WebDirect session. He's from Sweden. There is a few people from Montreal, a few people, Jan Lacour Salzero, he's from Nice in France. There's a couple other French-Canadian guys, and a few people from the UK, a few people.
Yeah, there's somebody from Australia, and there, Ray, I blanked on his name. He's not speaking this year?
No, he's not.
Oh, I thought he was.
His partner at, I forget her name, from Nightwing is speaking.
Okay, I remember Nightwing and then, that's what I was, that's the website.
She's from Nightwing, but I'm terrible at names, so I really am.
You can tell I'm not really shining there either. So. It's all right. I met about 500 people this morning when I was walking around, so I'm gonna start messing up everybody's name. And I saw one of the FileMaker employees, the only one I was allowed to interview 2 years ago when I was here, was sitting next to me at the keynote this morning. So, and she was real kind, and she because I badgered it into it, because I was carrying a camera around 2 years ago on the exhibition floor there. And interviewing everybody would sit still for any length of time. So she was the only FileMaker employee. And Ken Melman, he's the marketing guy. He said it was okay. He allowed it to happen. So once in a while you get something going. I'm still trying to get Dominic Gupel. He's emailed to me. He's talked to me back and forth.
He's probably already flown back to Santa Clara.
He was in the elevator this morning because I rode up with him.
I think he flies in for the keynote and flies out right after.
Does he?
Yeah, he's definitely like the Apple type CEO.
Okay.
He's a great guy, though.
Yeah, yes, and he said he wanted to do it. So yeah,
his time is very limited.
I know. So, well, is there anything else you want to share with us?
Not really.
About what's going on with FileMaker or anything like that?
No, I don't want to. I'm not one to really speculate. I'm happy where the FileMaker's been going. So as a designer, the design tools that have come out since version 12 have been worth the cost of upgrading alone.
Yeah.
And as a web developer, just seeing how WebDirect was even conceived about, there's just nothing else out there that's like it.
No, there isn't. And when they get it really on steroids, it's going to be one heck of a product.
You have kind of the parts separate. Like you have the point and click database creator on the back end. Like PHP MyAdmin is a MySQL administrator that kind of will establish some relationships with drag and drop and that kind of thing. And you've got some design tools like Dreamweaver that will make some of the front end for you and even code some of the forms for you. And then you could use something like FM Studio even to write some of the custom web publishing for you. But tying it all together into one single product is
making it just push the button and it's available. Yeah. That's pretty impressive. So, well, thanks very much for joining us today. I really look forward to seeing your recordings on these things, and it was really a pleasure to meet you. One more time, this is for the camera. This is Don Clark of FileMakerProGurus.com and FM Database Consulting, and Mike Beargie of Mainspring. And we're at FileMaker DevCon 2015. You are the second interview at this, and the first one with Michael Richard. So Mike's really high on my list of interviews. And we invite everybody to come on up if you're still listening to this watching this while we're doing DevCon 2015, and get in your own interview. Thanks.
Great.